And this is part of the reason why I think Europe is a very different situation as well. Should we get on to Europe a little bit?
I'll just quickly point out, we also covered the David Amess thing in the thing that I did with Bo, and that went on the list of ones where it kind of got memory hold as fast as humanly possible.
Oh, yes.
Was a clear example of a Muslim killing a sitting MP, wasn't it?
Yes, Bo had another example, which was his female leader of Pakistan. It's like the world's media were building up this female leader of Pakistan. It's like, yeah, she's going to be the new Prime Minister of Pakistan. And look, isn't it wonderful? The Muslims are going to put a woman in charge. This is so progressive. And the BBC and all of them, they were getting really hyped up about this. And before she could be sworn in, a Muslim shot her, because it's like, no, we're not having a woman in charge. And the media just instantly dropped, never mentioned it again.
It was with David Amess as well. It was worse than memory holding as well, because actually what they ended up doing was using his death as an excuse to push for the online harms bill.
Yes, as if the two were connected in any way.
And they did the same with a lot of stuff. They did the same with the riots last year following the Southport attacks. Anything and everything that could be manipulated into a reason for more government censorship was used as such. Even in America, following Charlie Kirk's death, what did we have Pam Bondi doing? Talking about hate speech laws, which would be, for one, I'm not a huge lover of the Constitution or anything, but that would be literally breaking the First Amendment. That would be going against the whole First Amendment free speech thing that Americans love so much. So that's bad. Also, like, hate speech laws are so malleable, so open to interpretation that it can be used for anything at all. That is one of the few cases where I would agree with that argument that people come out with, that, well, if you implement those powers, the next administration will just use them against you. That's absolutely true in that case.
Having said that, though, is that when they're in power, they just do whatever the hell they want anyway.
That is true, but the courts historically have at least had some kind of backstop by being able to say, well, there is the First Amendment, there are Second Amendment rights.
Yeah, but not that much.
Well, you don't want to make it as easy as possible for them, though. It's like assembling your own gallows and sticking your neck in it and say, there you go.
Should not be empowering these people, nor should the admin be legitimizing their words, their phrases, and making it so, so hate speech is a real thing. No, it's not. What was happening in the following Charlie Kirk's murder was people being fired by their private employers as a result of their public statements supporting and encouraging and cheering on political violence. That's very, very different from hate speech laws, which is a nothing term.
And on that point of those exact types of people that we had in America, to move it over to Europe, as you were saying, Josh, as well, we see no small number of those people as well in our own countries, right, who were cheering on what happened to Charlie Kirk, cheering on his murder. And, you know, no less than the president-elect of the Oxford Union, for crying out loud. So,
well, before we
Yes, he has to go.
Before we get onto Europe, I just wanted to address one more thing regarding...
I remembered something I need to mention as well. So
regarding Charlie Kirk and regarding the escalation of violence in America, which is, as far as I can tell, if the Trump admin doesn't actually crack down, because we always hear, even Bo's segment, you know, bless him, talking about this big speech in front of the UN. The Trump admin has a terrible track record for talking big and not delivering. We're going to have so many deportations, you're going to be winning so much, you'll get tired of winning. Deportations in the tens of thousands, nowhere near enough. I'm going to get the Ukraine war sorted, they're going to be peace within 24 hours. It's still ongoing. America agrees that they're going to give more support to Ukraine. Now, Antifa is a terrorist organization.
That's what I was going to get onto.
Fantastic, Trump. They post their whereabouts online. We know where their meetups are. Send in the shock troops to arrest these people. Because if you don't, your rhetoric has just given them all the more reason to see themselves as being persecuted, putting them in a defensive position, going on the attack, because they think they need to defend themselves. Vance went on the Charlie Kirk show and he said, you know, things are going to move a bit slower than we'd all like, but we'll sort this out. No, this requires swift action. Tyler Robinson, convict, execute swiftly, publicly. If it's going to be by a firing squad, if that's what the laws are in Utah, it needs to be public. You need to be advertising this stuff. You need to be broadcasting it, that you cannot get away with the shit. Otherwise, they just get away with it. Jimmy Kimmel gets his show shut down. He's already back on air. He is. If you cannot even cancel Jimmy Kimmel for more than a week, then you have a problem and you are not in control. You need to take control of the situation, smack these people down. If it is a terrorist organization, go to their meeting places, raid their homes, and put them in prison.
Didn't one of you two have a thing for ages about drill rap gangs?
I think that might have been Harry.
I've done that, yeah.
Same thing with them. We know where they are.
They have a map online where they show you where each of the gangs are. They write songs about how they murder people and the murders that they have already committed and the murders they're planning on committing. Send in the police, arrest every single one of them. Oh, but there's teenagers, Who cares?
Deport them too.
Get all the teenagers.
Deport them all. These people are just future murderers, right? Sorry to break it to you, that's the culture that they've been brought up in. There are so many reports in London of these gangs killing when they're already teenagers and killing other teenagers. So there is no need, there is no rational reason to tolerate this.
Well, and what's his name? Bukele in El Salvador. He's shown us how it's done. It's just like, well, if you're a member of Antifa or drill rap gang or whatever it is, were you going in the box? Off you go.
Yeah, and we will broadcast it. We will film it, and it will be awesome.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, the country works, and you get human rights lawyers. How do you know he's a murderer? Just because he's got rapist
They're going in the box.
murderer like tattooed on his fucking face. Well, there you go.
So there's another thing to add to this, that by designating Antifa a terrorist organisation, what it legally now allows them to do is seize the assets of people funding them. But the thing is, Antifa doesn't really need that much funding to operate, because it's basically a bunch of diffused individuals in an area that sort of meet up, and they're deliberately aware that they've got to organise in a way that the authorities can't impede them. So the people are still going to exist, and the law as it exists now, unless they're actually planning to break the law, there's not a lot they can do.
You can infiltrate them.
That's true.
Send people in. A mate
That would require the intelligence agencies to be on side, though, wouldn't it? And I think if anything,
well, police could do it. I got a mate of mine who's in the police, and he was telling me once he arrested some guy who was a total methy piece of shit. I mean, you could just tell looking at his lanky hair, teeth missing. I mean, he looked like a complete and utter mess. Anyway, he arrested him. He took him down the station, and he got a tap on the shoulder from a higher up and said, "No, he's one of our undercover guys. Let him go." And he couldn't believe it. So, this guy had infiltrated, and he was totally... So if you can do that, you can absolutely get people into these things.
Well, they probably already do, but they probably do so to point them in particular directions. In the same way that America's right wing have tried to organise their own spaces, their own organisations, it always goes back to, say, Ruby Ridge.
I was about to bring that up,
where they end up starting as a private social organisation, and they just want to be able to have privacy and organise their own affairs. The government sees, as Josh pointed out, a bunch of men with guns living their own way, not breaking any laws, but they say we can't have that. So they send somebody to infiltrate. They set them up. And then once they've been set up, they send in the FBI, they send in the ATF, and it turns into a fucking bloodbath. There is still the potential for that to happen, and it has only ever been done, in my memory, to the right-wing organisations who've tried.
Almost certainly, yeah. And, things like Waco and Ruby Ridge. Like Ruby Ridge, it was such an obvious case of entrapment where this FBI guy was hassling Randy Weaver for over a year, I think, to sell him a sawn-off shotgun that was only marginally beneath the mandated legislation in the state. And eventually he relented and did it, and then they came down on him. And as far as I'm concerned...
Son.
Yeah.
And his wife.
And his dog.
And his dog, yeah.
It seems a bit
do you
less
Do you not know Ruby Ridge?
Yeah, no, I've heard this one. It's just, it's still sickening every time you hear it, though.
Yeah.
But the point being here that Second Amendment shall not be infringed and you've sawn off your shotgun a few millimeters beneath the allowed amount, and now we're going to send the ATF after you. It was always about the fact that he was off the grid, he was living his own life on his own terms, and he went to meetings with the Aryan Nation on a couple of occasions only because someone he knew asked him to, not because he actually wanted to, and was never a member of the organisation.
But even if he did want to,
who
don't do
cares?
that to him.
It's freedom of association, yeah. The point being is just how far they went to basically target a man who, as far as I'm concerned, didn't do anything wrong.
If you enjoyed this piece of premium content from the Lotus Eaters, head to our website where you can find more.